Hello, I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley, president of the Open to Hope Foundation, and I'm here at the Compassionate Friends National Conference with my friend Ronald Kelly. Hi, Ronald.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good. It's great to have you on. Now, this is going to be a great YouTube because Ronald has written a book.
I have. Sometimes I cry in the shower.
And it is about?
It is about male grief. It's about my journey into male grief and how I tried to figure out why I tried to repress it the way that I did.
All right. Sounds like it's going to be a good read. Now, give us some tips for men and women who have had a loss.
Well, the biggest tip that I can give you is that we do grieve equally. We just grieve differently, and that's a lot of what the book talks about, is the fact that I grieve more internally, and of course you grieve externally. I think we do that for a reason, and as we go through the book and as I go through some of the workshops like the one that I've done here, we lay that out, and we just want people to know that men and women are grieving equally. It's just we don't understand it at first. Once we understand it, we're much better.
I've heard it said that women grieve face to face and men grieve shoulder to shoulder.
And that's exactly right, because women are far more empathetic and they need to survey the feelings of other people, where men need to go hide in a cave sometimes. And if we just understand that, we're so much better.
How can I get my man to grieve like I do? Isn't that kind of it?
Well, you know, and men probably never will. And again, I want you to know that, and this is for the audience too, is that sometimes we all speak in generalities. Not all men. There are some men that might be a little more effeminate than others, and there are women that might be a little more masculine, I guess, is the easiest way to say it. But for the most part, generalities show that we are who we are. So if a man is going to grieve the way that he does, especially during that time right after the grief event, it's hard to try to get him to change. He needs to stay the way that he is so he can get through his grief. And then later on, if there's things that aren't that positive in his mind, then we can work on changing them.
I said to a therapist once when we were going through the loss of our son, my husband's so brittle, so rigid about this, and he said, "You mean he's stable?"
No, and he is. And it's interesting to go through the facts, because you'll find out that we've actually been pre-wired or programmed through our DNA to be who we are, and so have women. But we've been like this since the dawn of time, and we were programmed this way for a reason. When we first, and I tell people, whether you believe whether we came from the Garden of Eden or we crawled from the primordial ooze, we had to survive. And for a man, that meant long hunting trips and hiding in the bushes and repressing his fear and being stoic and away from home for long periods of time, while women were back in, let's say, the village, and tending the kids and creating agriculture and all the other fun things. They were empathetic, where men were stoic and repressing their feelings all the time just to survive.
Okay, so if you've got one tip for men and then one for women, what would it be if they've had a loss in the last year or two?
Understand that a man is going to be systematic and he's going to be a planner, and while I hate to say it this way, sometimes after a loss we kind of revel in the fact that we've got something to do. We've got arrangements to make. We've got things that we've got to do, and we don't cry as outwardly as a woman is going to do. And the big caution to that is the woman might look at the man and say, "You didn't love that one as much as I did because you're not crying the way that I am." And the man transversely is looking at the woman saying, "I can get this stuff done if you quit crying on my shoulder every 5 minutes." And that's the one big kind of caution area, is to understand, especially right after the grief. We're going to grieve the way that we do. It's tough if you want to push somebody out of their natural feelings at that moment when everything is so emotional. Just try to understand each other.
Great. Well, thank you so much for doing this YouTube. And how do people find you?
I can be found at grievingmen.com, or they can Google R. Glenn Kelly.
All right. Thank you so much for being on this YouTube today. And we want to remind you, if you've lost hope, please lean on ours till you find your own, and God bless.